Hey there, and welcome to the Divorce Planner Podcast. I'm your host, divorce prep coach Alex Beatty. Welcome to episode 2 of my bonus summer series. If this is the first time you're listening to the podcast, I'm doing something a little different over the summer. I'm tackling 4 important topics that any person considering or going through a divorce has to navigate. Specifically, what to do when you've emotionally checked out of your marriage, how to get divorce ready in just 4 weeks, reframing divorce as an opportunity to create your best next chapter, and today's topic, how to tell your spouse you want a divorce. In each episode, I'm walking you through the exact tools and framework I use with coaching clients every single day. So today, we're starting with the conversation that changes everything, telling your spouse you want a divorce. This is the moment that marks a clear before and after in both of your lives. And here's the thing. You've probably been thinking about this for months, maybe even years. But the second you say the words out loud to your spouse, their journey is just beginning. So today, I'm going to walk you through how to prepare for this conversation, what to actually say, when and where to say it, and how to handle whatever reaction comes your way. Let's dive in. So before we talk about what to say, we need to talk about whether you're actually ready to say it. The thing is, this isn't just another difficult conversation. This isn't about being angry over last week's argument or frustrated about the same issues that keep coming up again and again. This is about being certain, the kind of certainty that means there's no going back because once you say the words, there is no turning back. So before you even begin to work on having a conversation, I want you to ask yourself 3 honest questions. 1, have I really tried everything to save this marriage? 2, is counseling or therapy still on the table? And 3, am I making this decision from a place of clarity or from a place of emotion? Your spouse might very well ask these exact same questions, and you'll need to be ready with honest answers, not just for them, but for yourself. If you're not sure that you're ready, that's okay. That might mean that you need more time or more support or a conversation with a therapist first. There is no prize for rushing through this. But if you're certain, if you've done the internal work and you have clarity, then let's get to how to prepare for having the talk. Now that you're clear on where you stand, you've got some work to do before having the conversation. Let's break this task into 2 parts, the emotional and the practical. On the emotional side, you need to understand your own state of mind going into this. Are you grounded enough to stay calm? Do you have support lined up afterwards, like a friend, family member, therapist, a coach, someone you can call if you need them? Have you written down your key points so you don't lose your train of thought if emotions run high? Being prepared on these 3 points will help you make this hard conversation go a lot easier. Even if you're the one who's initiating this, even if you've been ready for months, saying it out loud is going to hit you too. On the practical side, you don't need a complete divorce plan before having this conversation, but you do need some basic ideas about what comes next. I want you to think through, where could you potentially live afterwards? How are you going to handle immediate financial needs? And if you have kids, what's your initial thinking about them? Now, I'm not saying you walk into this conversation with a binder and a spreadsheet. That is not the point. The point is having thought through these basics shows a respect for the magnitude of what you're discussing, and it shows you're not just acting impulsively, but intentionally. The timing of this conversation matters a lot more than most people think. You know your spouse. When are they going to be the most able to actually hear difficult news? Are they a morning person? Do they need time to decompress after work? I know I do. You want to choose a moment when they're most likely to be calm and receptive, not stressed or rushing. The best time is when you both also have privacy. You can really be able to talk freely when there's no immediate pressure from work or family, and when you won't be interrupted. Now, let's be clear about when not to have this conversation. Not during the holidays, not on a birthday or anniversary, not right before your spouse has a big work presentation, and especially not in the middle of an argument. You want this conversation to really stand on its own, not get tangled up with other major events or stressors. Next, Where do you want to have this conversation? The location is so important. I would say just as important as what you say. You want to choose a private but neutral space. So, not the bedroom, not over dinner at your favorite restaurant, and not in a coffee shop where you can't speak openly. And there's something else important to consider. You want to avoid places that have a really strong emotional association. So, not where you got engaged or your wedding venue, which sounds crazy, but you never know. And definitely not the spot of your first date. If you're still living together, a shared space like a living room can work. Just make sure it's during a time when you won't be interrupted, and definitely not right before bed or when one of you is just rushing out the door. We'll be back after a quick break. Hey, it's Alex. If you've been listening to this show, you already know that preparation is everything. The Divorce Prep course is how you put it all into practice. Coaching videos combined with the divorce checklists, asset logs, and monthly budget spreadsheet I use with my private clients. These tools walk you through exactly what to gather, how to organize your finances, and how to prepare for every stage of divorce. It's self-paced, and at $127, it's the most affordable way for you to do your prep work with me. You can find the course at www.thedivorceplanner.net. Okay, so we've established that you're ready emotionally. And now that you've identified a location, you're ready logistically. Next, what do you actually say? The words you choose and how you deliver them are going to set the tone for your entire divorce. No pressure, right? Your best bet is always to lead with compassion. Having the talk conversation is actually the first of many conversations about this subject. The first time you officially announce your position, it's really about clearly communicating where you stand and allowing your partner to receive and digest the information. You'll have many other follow-up conversations about logistics, finances, your kids, but the first conversation is really about entering into a new phase of your relationship. One of the biggest mistakes I see are people coming to this conversation with a "you never" and "you always." The second you start listing grievances, you've turned this into another argument. But this isn't an argument. This is you communicating a decision that you've made. So steer clear of those you statements and use I statements like, "I've been feeling, I've realized, I've given this a lot of thought." Here's an example of how you might open. "I've given this a lot of thought, and I believe divorce is the best path forward for us. I understand this may be hard to hear. Please know that my intention is to navigate this with compassion and respect." That statement is direct, kind, and gives your spouse clarity about where you stand. And here's a pro tip that might sound obvious, but most people skip it. Practice what you're going to say before you say it. Script what you're going to say. Say it out loud. Practice in the mirror, to a friend, to your therapist. The first time you say these words should not be the moment your spouse is sitting across from you. A lot of people who are very certain that they want a divorce are surprised by the emotions that can bubble up the first time you actually say the actual words out loud. Part of preparing for this conversation is getting comfortable with what you're going to say before you say it. Not only does it help you stay on track, but it also helps you be present for your partner who might be hearing this information for the first time. Here's the hard truth. You can't predict how your spouse will react to your news. They might get angry. They might break down. They might go completely calm and quiet. They might want to talk for hours, which I do not recommend. Or they might walk out of the room. Whatever their reaction is, it's valid and it's okay. And here's what I want you to hear. Your job is not to manage their emotions. You're not responsible for fixing how they feel. You're responsible for delivering your truth with as much compassion as possible and then letting them process it in their own way. If they ask why, be honest but kind. This is where that earlier introspection comes in. If they need space, give it to them. If they want to keep talking, be present and listen, but no matter what their reaction, be firm with your boundaries. If emotions escalate things, pause and breathe. Then you can say, "I understand this is hard to hear." And if it stops being productive altogether, Then you can say, let's take a break and come back to this tomorrow. Have some grounding techniques ready for yourself too. Slow, deep breaths. Feel your feet on the floor or anchoring yourself in your body and the moment. You'll also want to have a plan for immediately after, like where will you go? Who will you call? How will you process what just happened? Don't skip this part. You're going to need support too. One last thing on this. Don't be surprised if your spouse wants to revisit the conversation more than once. Big news takes time to sink in. Your first conversation is rarely the last. We'll be back after a quick break. Hey, it's Alex. If you're ready to start preparing, I created a 4-email divorce prep series that walks you through everything you need to know to prepare emotionally, administratively, financially, and strategically for divorce. Over 4 emails, you'll get clear, actionable tips on identifying divorce goals and priorities, checklists for gathering the necessary statements and documents that attorneys and mediators need in order to get right to work, financial planning tools that help you replace fear with clarity, and attorney consultation tips that put you in control during meetings so you get the answers you need and save time and money. The emails are spaced out automatically to give you time to actually do the work. No guesswork, no overwhelm, just an easy-to-follow divorce prep roadmap. Head to www.thedivorceplanner.net/divorce-prep-series to sign up, or check the show notes for a link. Let's get back to today's episode. So after this first conversation, you'll both need time to process. But some practical matters might come up pretty quickly, like where will each of you stay if one person needs to leave? How will you handle day-to-day expenses? And how and when will you tell the kids? You don't need every answer right away. You can offer a path forward, something like, I know we have a lot of stuff to figure out. Would you like to talk about immediate arrangements now, or would you prefer to take some time first? That one question does something really powerful. It gives your spouse agency in a moment where they probably feel like everything is being decided for them. Oh, and if you have kids, it's important that your kids should never overhear the talk with your spouse. Remember, the conversation with your spouse happens first. Ideally, any conversation with your kids should come later, after you've both had time to process and prepare for that talk together, so you're able to be present and calm and act as a united front. Use the same frameworks and apply it to preparing for that conversation as well. Here's what I want you to take away from today. This conversation isn't about being right or finally getting to say everything you've been holding in. It's really about transitioning your status with dignity, minimizing trauma, and laying the foundation for a relationship you'll have moving forward, which is so important, especially if you're going to be co-parents. Let's go through the steps one more time. First, get clear with yourself. Then script what you'll say and practice it out loud. Choose your moment and location. Speak with compassion and be ready to take care of yourself when it's over. And throughout, be kind to yourself. This is one of the hardest things you'll ever do. You'll need patience and compassion for your spouse and for yourself. If you want more information about preparing for this conversation, I sat down with associate therapist and author of Why We Fight, Kim Polander, on Season 1 of the Divorce Planner podcast. We covered this exact subject, so if you want to learn more, give that episode a listen. And the best time to have this conversation is after you're emotionally, administratively, financially, and practically prepared for divorce, all of which I'll be covering in episode 3 this summer. Oh, and I also offer a free 4-email divorce prep series that walks you through exactly what to do. You can sign up at www.thedivorceplanner.net/divorce-prep-series. It's also linked in the show notes. That's a wrap on today's episode. I hope you found it helpful. For more free resources, check out my blog at www.thedivorceplanner.net/blog. You'll find articles on how to emotionally and financially prepare for divorce, gain insights into the process from divorce experts, and empower yourself with tips and tools that make your divorce journey easier. And you can follow me on Instagram at the.divorce.planner, on Facebook at Divorce Prep, and on YouTube at The Divorce Planner for daily divorce prep tips and support. I'm Alex Beatty, and this has been the Divorce Planner Podcast. Until next time, remember, divorce is hard. Preparing for one doesn't have to be.